Okay, so people have been trying to give us a good Fantastic Four movie for 2 decades, and it just hasn't worked. But now Marvel's first family is finally making their entrance within the MCU. So do we actually have a film that does these characters justice, or is it clobbering time again for all the wrong reasons? The Fantastic Four First Steps is the latest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and actually the first project of Phase 6, and it's about the Fantastic Four defending the Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald Silver Surfer, as they're forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond. So this is a movie that I've been excited for ever since the Marvel Cinematic Universe first kicked off way back in 2008 with Iron Man, because when it comes to the actual comics, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the Fantastic Four are the characters that I followed the most by far. Those are my big three, the Holy Trinity, if you will, and over the years on both the big and small screen, we've gotten some great Spider-Man content. We've gotten some great Daredevil content, but everything to do with the Fantastic Four has been one big disaster after the next. They pretty much got turned into the forgettable four, patent pending. So when I sat down to watch this movie, at bare minimum, all I wanted to see was for these characters actually to be given the treatment they deserved, but also act as a nice introduction into this larger movie universe as well. And I'm happy to say the Fantastic Four First Steps does much more than that, getting me fully reinvested in the future of this franchise. When it comes to the story they decided to go with here, this is such a breath of fresh air from the jump, since it not only takes place in the 1960s, but it's also on a completely different version of Earth than the one we're used to playing around on in the MCU. Even though it's set in a way earlier time period anyway, knowing that makes it so you can just walk into the theater without doing a bunch of third-rate Disney Plus homework beforehand and enjoy a big-budget superhero popcorn movie, which is a feeling I've been craving for a little while, even though all the interconnectivity is a big part of what made everything up until Endgame so special. Sometimes you gotta prove you've still got your fastball with a contained and straightforward project. When it comes to the actual meat and potatoes of this narrative, though, it gets the job done in terms of setting the stakes and getting you attached to this group of characters, even if I wish we had a little bit more time with each of them individually and a few additional moments to see them actually showing off their powers a bit, because watching Mr. Fantastic do his best Stretch Armstrong impersonation is honestly cool as hell. Let's talk about the performances in this movie, because it's pretty jam-packed with talent from front to back. Obviously, you have Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby as the face of the family unit here, with Joseph Quinn and Eben Moss-Backrack rounding out this core group of characters. Already right there, you've got yourself a more than capable cast to lead this entire story from beginning to end. And they all play off of each other pretty well and present as a believable family unit. But I gotta say, to my surprise, it was Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm that was my MVP this time around. You know, Vanessa Kirby has to flex a wider variety of her acting muscles throughout the movie and does a good job acting as the emotional core. But let's be honest, the Human Torch is the guy you want to spend more time with, see what he's up to, and just brings the entertainment factor whenever he's on screen. Now, not everyone is at the top of their game here, though. Julia Garner as Silver Surfer and Ralph Ineson as Galactus, they both understood the assignment. Trust me, Galactus was used perfectly in this film, but Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man, yeah, that role should have stayed in the dirt. We need to talk about the actual tone and the vibe they went with in this film, because it does a really nice job of setting itself apart from the usual Marvel movies we've come to expect in recent years, and ends up being a driving force in why it's actually so good. There isn't an overabundance of little jokes. They finally let the emotional beats linger for more than like half a second, and the entire 1960s aesthetic is super refreshing for a project like this. The world just feels lived in because of it, and Matt Shakman's camera work, paired with Michael Giacchino's score, is pretty much the icing on the cake here. That soundtrack is emotional, it's cosmic, it's exciting, but what resonated with me the most is just how much the film embraces that bizarre and goofy comic book DNA. Like, I'm a diehard sci-fi nerd when it's all said and done, and there are a few sequences and plot points crammed in here that are so bonkers, so out there, and so high pressure that I was ready to levitate out of my damn chair. You know, it could have been a touch longer, could have used another action scene, but this is the type of quality we should come to expect out of the MCU, baby. Overall, guys, the Fantastic Four First Steps is the movie that I've been hoping to get involving these characters since I started reading their comics all those years ago. The visuals are top-notch, the performances are impressive, and the story leans heavily into all of that goofy science fiction shit. The movie is really at its best whenever Galactus or the Human Torch are on screen, keeping it entertaining the entire way through. Definitely not perfect when it comes to the pacing, but after all this time, Marvel's first family finally seems to be in good hands. The Fantastic Four First Steps gets a Sully score of 4 stars. So that's my review of the latest MCU project. What's the best Marvel movie to come out over the last few years? I think I actually probably have to go with this one, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.